How do you, as a founder, get that experience in a new space that you didn't have direct experience in before?
That's a good question. Well, number one, if you don't have customers, is research, right? You just got to do your research. And by what I mean by research is not just Googling. You actually try to immerse yourself in the problem. So before I Googled, I actually called car washes and kind of figured out like that experience and call, and like when people answered, I would ask them quite like if a customer service rep answered my phone, I would be like, "Hey, tell me a little bit more." Like, "Oh, cool! Like you're in a call center. Tell me a little bit more about that. How many people work there?" So, like doing like that research kind of helped me understand. Like, okay, this car wash has 10 call center reps. They answer the phone. This is the average wage in that state. Here's how much they're spending. Here's what my product costs. Here's what my product can do for them. So that research, first of all, when you get a customer, it's talking to that customer, right? And that's where uh, having the skill of talking to people and building really good relationships matter. Is because if you're just selling a software product, let's say that's self-serve, which uh, are great products to sell, amazing products. Like I would rather sell uh, in the long run a self-serve product than not a self-serve product. But when you're starting out, you have to be able to talk to your customers to understand why they're using their product, your product, and why. Um, and then if you have that relationship with them and you can talk to them really well and have them trust you, they can then explain to you things that uh, you didn't know before. To give you an example, my first customer basically said, "Hey, um, I'm going to give you a secret. Join this Facebook group and I'll vouch for you of 23,000 car washers." Right. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Now I have access to 23,000 people who own car washes, right? Because I talked to my customer and we would spend literally an hour on the phone just talking about the problems that car washes face. And so having that trust with your customer. And then when you get to the bigger, like the bigger fish, the guys that own 100 locations, just sitting down also with those customers. Like yesterday, I had a call with one of our biggest customers, and in the call, we just spent 15 minutes, and I was like, "Hey, can you show me your process for XYZ?" And when she was showing me the process, I got ideas of like, we can build this into our platform. Even though it's not call related, we can build this and we can build this and we can do this. And we can charge them the same amount and just like consolidate all of these things into what we do.
That's powerful, man. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Do you have any tips on? And we'll get into cold calling in just a second, but do you have any tips on getting people to drop their guard a little bit and share some of that information with you? I think a lot of people
Yeah.
they struggle to, they say, "Can you show me, what do you actually do on a day-to-day basis?" I do this and then I do this, but they're not giving you meaningful, insightful kind of answers. Like, do you have any
Answers, yeah.
tips on getting them to open up and share that information with you?
Are they customers or not customers?
Both.
For non-customers, it's a little bit harder, just because you don't have, first of all, a working relationship, but also like if people don't have time to waste on you, for the most part, right? Um, but if even if they're not customers, you can take the approach of I want to build this for like we're so new as a company, we're such a startup that our code is so flexible, even if it may not be. Our code is so flexible that we want to build this for your specific problem. So if people are seeing like, hey, you're building for, I don't care other customers have may not have this problem, but if you do, I want to be able to understand this problem and build it for you. Taking that approach, I've actually taken that approach myself, with leads and said, hey, listen, we're having a demo conversation, but I really want to understand what your walk me through this process so I can build it for you, right? So making it about them. But when they're a customer, it's a little bit easier if you're showing value, right? So on the call yesterday with my customer, we're talking about, okay, here's how much value we're providing for you. um, I make for the bigger customers, I make what's called a bi-weekly meeting where we go over the value that we're providing. And we're a little bit unique because we do phone calls. But what I do is I do a presentation and I say, hey, here's how many calls we took from for you. Here's the breakdown of what the categories of those calls are. Here's what that means in time savings. And then during that call is where I ask these questions. Can you show me the process of X? Can you show me this? Last time you mentioned the software. Can you actually go in there and show me, like literally yesterday, I was like, can you share your screen if you're okay with it, and show me how you do claims? And she opened up her screen and she showed me how she does claims. And she's like, this is what my team spends time on. And so, and then what I do is I relate my time, I tie my product back to it. I was like, okay, so the fact that we're taking phone calls for you means your team doesn't have to answer them and spend more time on the stuff that you care more about. She's like, yeah, absolutely. We love it. And she's like, we're very customer focused and I want my team to answer the phone. But sometimes when we have so many claims, I just turn off our phones and let you guys take it over for 4 hours so my team can focus on the more important stuff. Um, and so like, but that conversation would have never happened if I never asked her to show me her process and what they do. Like I never knew her team worked on claims until yesterday, right? But now I know.
Just to backtrack a little bit, so you with your bigger customers, you have like a standing sort of every 2 weeks we get on a call and we talk through. How do you get them to agree to that? Because they've got to commit the time and everything else to it. Yeah, they get busy. How, like, what's in it for them? Why do they get on a call with you every 2 weeks?
In my mind, like it makes sense because you're buying my product to have some sort of ROI, and I want to make sure that you're seeing that ROI. But how I approach it with them is like, hey, every 2 weeks, all I need is 15 minutes from your time because I really want to go over, is our product working for you? And if it's not, what can we do to fix that, right? And I'm blunt, like I just say it bluntly, right? Like a lot of people try to walk on eggshells, especially with their customers. Like I tell them you're paying me X amount for this every month. I want to make sure it's valuable to you, and I want to make sure I keep you as a customer as well. And so if we have this, bi-weekly meeting that's 15 minutes, and I always set it up after the onboarding call. So we do an onboarding call, and I set it up, and I say, hey, like, should we set this up? When are you usually free? And let's just have it there on the calendar every 2 weeks in perpetuity, right? So I set it up on the onboarding call, and I make that case like I'm selling the biweekly call by telling them, here's what's in it for you, here's what's in it for me, and if we don't do it, it's like you're not seeing the value that you get for your money, right? That's how I do it with my customers, I guess.
Hey, it's Ryan here. If you like that video, please click the like and subscribe button somewhere down there and check out the full interview right over here. Go on, click it. You know you want to.